to my video demonstration for the CPC Project 1. The brief for this project was to produce an interactive web toy that included both visual and sonic elements. I decided to base mine on a weekly workshop task that I could then develop and refine to make it better and produce a simple yet effective product. So before we go into the strengths and weaknesses, I will show what it does. So as you can see in the first screen, it tells you a little bit about the company and what they do and their goals, and some instructions on how to actually control the piece and to move around in it. So we'll take the instruction at the bottom and we'll click anywhere to begin. So as we can see, when we load into the piece, we have a randomly generating walker stepping a certain direction every 1.5 seconds. As it does this, it also plays a unique sound, or a unique sound depending on which way it steps. So backwards will always be the same sound, but up will be a different sound than backwards. So it randomly generates this piece each time. So this product does have some strengths and weaknesses. The first weakness that I ran into was some technical difficulties. I was attempting to create a stop button for a very long time, but couldn't get it to work. The results were very inconsistent. Sometimes it would appear with errors, sometimes it would be there, the button would be there, but it wouldn't have any ability to do anything. Sometimes the button would disappear after being there. So the results were very inconsistent, and I decided not to do that, because another part of this piece is that each time you play it, it has a random color for both the walker and the background, and they match. But the walker can still clearly be seen from any angle due to the lighting controls that we have on the piece. Another problem that I did run into was having the sounds overlay with each other a lot. So at the beginning, I had the sounds looping, and it created a quite overwhelming wall of sound coming from the piece as it added new parts and additions. So I had to fix this by taking away the loop function and making sure that the sounds were all very concise, short sounds with simple notes. Another issue that I slightly ran into was that the color of the walker and the background was always matching, as it was declared, as random color was declared as a global variable at the beginning of the piece. The walker and the background were both given that variable, and therefore they both created the same color, but due to the lighting it can easily be spotted. So some parts of the piece that I thought were effective was the changing colors for a start, but also the ability for it to have a different note for each different direction it might move in, and for these notes to be already preloaded beforehand so there is no delay. Another thing that I thought went quite well was the start button, as well as the overlay that is within it, as it was able to very easily disappear, causing no problems to the piece in later uses. And another thing that I think added really well was the sound and animation working in tandem, so having not only reactive sound to the movement of the walker, but having different sounds depending on which way it moved. But overall, to conclude, I found working with Three.js and Tone.js quite difficult, as I found the language to be hostile and counterintuitive. It was very confusing to understand each different section, as well as it sometimes being quite inconsistent with results, even if the same thing is in the code. When reloaded, it will come with a different result. And I did find it very challenging, but overall I feel that the piece is effective in our goals, but could definitely be improved on in some ways.